program is going to be all about wild canines. And before we dive more into that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Isa, and I am an interpretive education environmental major here at UW Stevens Point. And this is my practicum session, and I'm so excited to learn and grow with you guys here today. And if you guys need anything, know that if you head out to the left here and down a little bit, you'll see the bathrooms on your right. So if you need bathrooms or any water, that is all right there. If you need a little snack, there's also a gift shop, so you can like go get a little granola bar if you need to and have a little snack. But other than that, please let me know if you guys need anything, and we're going to jump into it today. So for our first activity, I have a sheet with me here today, and on it is just one word. No, I lied, 2 words. And it's wild canine. So I'm going to come around with a couple coloring utensils and this paper, and for a couple minutes, I want you guys just to write down what are the first things you can draw to. What comes to mind when you hear the word wild canine? It can be pictures, it can be words. And now I'm going to hand off this, and if we could just slide the pack of markers and crayons down to our friends.
There's 2 more crayons, so much easier.
Yeah. Crayons and markers. And we can take that and pass it around. Batteries. We're going to take one and pass it down. Yeah. Choices, so many choices.
Oh yeah, the ones that, the tigers that like tigers, are ugly ones. They're wild.
Yeah, if you guys want to use, there's like a green table.
Alright.
I'm seeing some awesome stuff so far, you guys. I love it. So what we're doing, once we have our papers and our coloring utensils, we're going to be either writing down the words or thoughts that come to mind when we hear or see the word wild canine, or we can draw it. If you want to draw what maybe a wild canine is or what comes to mind when you hear the word wild canine. And we're just going to take a couple more minutes as we do that. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please raise your hand or just give me a holler and I'll come and help out or hang out. Oh, that's so cute. Alrighty, we're going to take about 30 more seconds, my friends.
Dogs are too said to be a type of wolf, right? They're descendants.
Yeah, dogs are definitely a type of wolf. Well, no, I wouldn't say a type of wolf because they're domesticated, but they're definitely descendants of wolves.
That's what I'm saying, descendants.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's crazy how they could go from like a really big 200-pound wolf to like 20-pound chihuahua. Alrighty, you guys. So what are some of the thoughts or pictures we have when we saw or heard the word wild canine? Yeah?
I said wolf.
Yep, wolf. Who else had wolf or thought of wolf? Yeah, wolves are definitely a wild canine. What else were some things we drew or wrote down on our papers?
I have another one that you may not think of, but it's not natural to the area. It's hyenas.
Hyenas, yeah. They're definitely a wild canine. Who else had one? Yeah?
I just drew a picture of a paw print, and then I have hierarchy, tag hunting, and controversy.
Awesome! 100%, and I love that you put in hierarchy because we'll talk a little bit about wild canines' communication system and how that might dictate their social systems.
I wrote down canines as temper virus.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Anyone else? Any thoughts, pictures of anyone? Coyotes? Yep, there's definitely coyotes in the area. We can talk a little bit about them today. I see wolves and paw prints, and I love that you guys included the 4 toes. That's perfect.
I was thinking like secretive and kind of aloof.
Yes.
And they love rabbits.
100%. They start searching them out with their paw prints and stuff, and they're definitely elusive. They kind of like to stick to their own. That is awesome. You guys had such wonderful ideas, pictures, words, and these all relate to wild canines. I added one of my own. It's supposed to be a wolf.
Looks kind of like the one from that one cartoon, the bad guys.
Oh, the bad guys, yeah, and we see wolves in media too. That's a great connection.
You sure that's not a pointer?
I'm feeling there's a lot of pointers in this room today, but although we love our pointers, they are not a wild canine. So what makes a wild canine is that they are part of the canine family, and that means that they are still, although canines, like our family household pets, they are wild. They were never domesticated, and although we love our pets at home, I do have to make a note that they are not allowed here at Schmeeckle. Only the wild canines are welcome here at Schmeeckle today. So, as we jump into our topic, we're going to explore more about the wild canines specific to Schmeeckle in Wisconsin here today. And just to go through an idea of what we're going to do, we talked in here for a little bit. We did our little activity of drawing what is a wild canine and brainstorming about that. And I want us to take the words and pictures that we drew here today and with us on our walk. We're going to head outside. It's going to be about a 30-minute walk. So I want us to make sure we all have coats on and we're nice and bundled up for about a 30-minute walk out in the weather. And then we're going to come back in here and wrap up at the end of today and after our walk. Are we okay with this plan? Solid. Let's gear up, put on hats, gloves, coats, and we're going to head out this door to begin our walk and discover more about the wild canines here at Schmeeckle. Alrighty. I'm going to steal all your guys' attention. We're going to head down over here, and before we go out on the trail, we are sharing the trails with all the other wonderful visitors here at Schmeeckle. So we're going to do our best to, and there's also some deer there, which is really cool. But we're going to make sure that we stick to one side of the trail and make sure that we're just being observant of all the folks that are coming either behind us or in front of us walking the trails. And then we're going to make sure, because we will have one activity where we step off of the trail, but we're always just going to make sure we stay on the trail and that we're safe. And we're going to have a friend in the back. This is Milana. Milana is awesome, and she's going to be our friend who makes sure that she's the last one behind our group, and then we all stick together. Alrighty. We're going to come down here, and we're going to begin our walk on the Trail of Reflections. If anyone has any thoughts, feelings, concerns, please let me know, or questions. Get to our first stop. Feel free to come in close. If you can't hear me, or actually I'm going to do a little bit of a test. If you can hear me, do one clap. Fabulous. Okay. It's so good to see that we all made it. But as we start talking about the wild canines in Schmeeckle, this first stop is really focusing on the traits that our wild canines in Schmeeckle have to help them thrive. It's a bit cold out here today. What are we all wearing? Are we wearing
Cold.
swimsuits? No, I heard it somewhere. I heard.
Sweater, jacket, shirt,
Yeah, all those things. Sweaters, jackets, coats. We're
hats,
wearing.
gloves.
Yeah, all the things to keep all of our pieces warm. Do we see foxes or coyotes running around Schmeeckle with coats?
Nope.
No.
They
They
have
have-
fur.
Fur coat.
100% they have fur coats. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is how we have a fox pelt and we also have a coyote pelt. And these two are, the coyote is the largest carnivore we have in Schmeeckle. And then we have our regular red fox, who is also a great rodent control. They love small mammals, and so is coyotes. Both,
They eat the mice.
yeah, they eat the mice. The red fox and the coyote are both super huge when it comes to rodent control and spreading different organic material around Schmeeckle so that other animals and plants can use that material. But we also have another friend here today. Well, they're not here, but they're in Schmeeckle. And they call Schmeeckle home, but I don't have the pelt for them, but they're called the gray fox. And gray foxes are smaller than our average red fox and coyote. And I'm gonna pass around this image to kind of show the different size comparisons. So we have our smaller gray fox, who is also arboreal. I had no idea what that word meant when I first heard it. Arboreal means tree loving. So these gray foxes actually spend a lot of time up in the trees and will even den up there as well. And that's probably why they're a smaller size than the gray fox, because they need to be pretty nimble and agile to be running around in the treetops, right? And then we have our medium-sized red fox. Who, right? It blows your mind. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we have our bigger coyote, who's about that 20 to 30 pound range. And then I also heard wolves during our first activity. And while we don't have wolves in Schmeeckle living here, they do make their home around this area and will come down every now and again to different areas that have wooded areas, whether they're looking for new territory or they're just trying to expand their range. And this is also a map of the wolf populations in Wisconsin by the DNR as of 2024 to 2025. So I'm going to start it here. We're going to make our way around so everyone can see the size comparison and also the wolf pack density. And while that's making its way around this way, I'm going to talk about our friends and their coats. So unfortunately they don't have my really cool coat, but they also have really cute coats of their own made up of two types of fur. So I'm going to lift up the pelt a little bit and you'll see a grayer, shorter fur underneath. This is called the undercoat. The undercoat is more of an insulation layer of fur, so it keeps that body heat nice and close. Kind of like the feather or the cotton in our coats, it really helps keep them nice and warm and protected. And then on top is called the guard hairs. The guard hairs act as like a raincoat or the really tough part of our own coats that helps protect the insulation bit.
Or like if they roll around in the snow, then it kind of blocks the snow from the inside.
100%. Or if it rains and it lets the water run right off the side or on the fur. Perfect. So we have that both on our fox and we also have that on our coyote. And although it's not here with us today, you would also see that in a wolf pelt and a gray fox pelt. So as the picture's coming around, I'm going to come around with the fur coat. If everyone would like to, you can hold out your two fingers, kind of like magic wand style, and you can pet down on the fur. And you're going to want to go with the fur, nice and gentle. And if you're not comfortable with that, no worries. Just say, no thank you, and we'll keep moving. And if you have any questions, thoughts, please let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them. Nice and warm. question I don't think I best have the answer for, but after the lesson plan today, I would love to look deeper into which coat might be a little bit warmer, and we can find out together. Awesome. Yeah, I was here. That one. So far, the vote is coyote is warmer.
I think the warmer one would be the wolf coats.
As you're walking around.
It's going to tackle more about the resources that our native wild canines here might need or look for. So as we're walking, keep an eye out for what are some things you think a coyote, a fox, or a gray fox might look for in Schmeeckle. That could be food, that could be shelter, or water, or maybe some other things you think they might need. So we'll keep that in mind as we keep moving and grooving. And if anyone has any thoughts, questions, or concerns, please don't hesitate to ask. But let's make sure we keep our eyes nice and open for this next section, because there will be some things to look out for. So as we were making our way over here, did we see any resources a coyote, a fox, or red fox or gray fox might want or need? Or before we even answer that question, I'm so sorry, I should ask, what are some things you think a fox, coyote, or gray fox would need?
Food,
Mice.
rabbits, squirrels.
Rabbits,
I
squirrels?
thought some
Mice.
mouses or voles, tracks that they might eat.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot of small mammals as prey items. So yeah, they love those small mammals. Yeah. Shelter 100% just like us. They want to get out of the cold, stay nice and tucked up, especially when they have kits. So in later spring of June, July, April, May to June, they're going to have their kits, especially foxes and gray foxes and coyotes. I don't particularly know about wolves, but I know for these three main species in Schmeeckle, they're going to start having those kits in spring. And before they have those kits, they need a den site. So they're going to look for a suitable spot, maybe a hillside or under trees, to start digging or excavating a den or burrow to have their kits in. So they're definitely going to need shelter for those kits to grow and be raised for the next couple months or before they start hunting on their own. What are some other things? So we've got food, shelter, water 100%. They're going to need clean water to drink just like us. Space 100%. No one wants to live in a space the size of their bathroom. You can't stretch your legs. So they definitely need space to go out, range, find resources, and even potential mates or those to be made up of their family structures. One of our friends had talked about social hierarchies as part of their paper activity. Awesome. That is amazing because wolves especially have those family relations of the parents. So the alpha male, alpha female is the breeding pair, especially in wolf packs, and their pack is then made up of their children over various seasons. So that could be the daughters, sons that stay, or if they choose to leave, they leave and they start making packs of their own. The same as with coyotes. The coyotes will be mostly made up of daughters from the breeding pair. And then those daughters will help raise their mother's their mother's cubs. And we'll talk more about how communicating and socialization is super important to these wild canines down the road. But, barely down the road. But
In the future.
at the next station, we'll tackle that. So we've got space, food, water, and shelter. And it might be hard to find or have enough for all these wild canines to have in small spaces or spaces the size of Schmeeckle. So for this activity, we're all on the trail. Well, I'm not. But for the most part, we're all on the trail. For this activity, there are little papers kind of in this area. So I'll have us come kind of squeeze in a little bit more over here. And for this part, I want us all to channel our innermost wild canine, whether that's a gray fox, red fox, coyote, but you need to reach at least one of your resources, if not more. So to do that, you can only take 3 steps. And you're competing with all these other canines here. So I will leave it up to your canine selves, whether that's you're a really hungry fox that wants like everything in your 3 steps, or if you're not that hungry and you just want one resource, you can definitely take one. But from where you're standing right now, you can only take 3 steps to get at least one resource. And then you have to freeze where you are once you've taken your 3rd step. And before we do this, there's a lot of people here. We have to make sure that we're conscious of all of our friends next to us. So no pushing, shoving, or kicking. And you can't pick someone up and throw them away from the resource you want. So let's all just make sure we're safe. And yeah, no kicking anyone. Okay, ready? Yes.
What if you take 2 steps and you can't get to your resource and you just stop?
Then you just stop. Your fox is in a spot that doesn't have enough resources. But we'll talk about that a little bit too and why that's important. All right, ready, steady, go. Take your 3 steps. Awesome. Has everyone taken their 3 steps? What are some things we're seeing on our cards as I walk around to collect them? We got eggs. Breakfast.
I got a chickadee and some eggs.
Awesome. We got a chickadee and some eggs. Oh, we had a lot of resources over here.
Yeah.
Den site. We got fresh water.
A rabbit.
We got a rabbit, some small mammals, birds, eggs. We got grasshoppers. Squirrels.
Mouse.
Mouse. Deer. Also got some berries.
Den site.
Den site, perfect. Cubs, perfect.
Fresh water.
Fresh water, amazing. Deer.
Ooh, deer, yum. Can
So
I
there
share?
maybe wasn't enough resources over here. Oh, that's okay though, because that happens. Sometimes the coyotes like this might be a great spot. Oh no! That's all right.
There's a McDonald's right down the
Oh, we got a gopher. Awesome, we got a gopher. Perfect. Berries. Den site, rabbit, gopher. Den site. Perfect. So how was that? Was it really nice when you found your resources? Was it a little bit tough when you didn't have any resources? Yeah, because then you gotta go look for McDonald's. But these are some of the obstacles our wild canines will face in smaller spaces. If there's a lot of wild canines, because the coyote, the red fox, and the gray fox, they all eat the same things. They're all opportunistic omnivores. Oh my goodness, omnivores. That just means they're always looking for the opportunity to kind of eat a lot of different things. That can be bugs, insects, berries / plants, fish,
Duck.
carrion, duck, birds, eggs. They eat a lot of these different things.
Eggs.
But because they eat a lot of these different things, they're all targeting the same resources. And if there's too many of them in one spot, they might not have enough to go around, so they have to move to other spaces. Awesome. You guys did an amazing job. I'm going to have us come back to the trail, and we're going to start moving to our next spot. Social systems between our wild canines. So what are some things a wild canine might want to communicate to one another? And how might they do that? If you feel inclined, maybe act it out. If you want to howl, howl. If you want to yip and yap, that's okay too. But just keep in mind, what are some ways they may do that and why they do it? As we were walking over here, what were some ideas we had of maybe why a wild canine would communicate and maybe how they would communicate?
They're in danger.
Yep, if they're in danger, definitely.
Gathering some buddies around.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Howling, especially for wolves and coyotes, can be a great way to strengthen those family bonds and overall unity within their family structure and pack. So wolves, especially right before a big hunt, they'll yip and they'll howl, and that helps them kind of
Gather their reinforcements or extra wolves and stuff.
100%, kind of like camaraderie between a soccer team. And coyotes will do that too. Just to remember, like, hey, we're still a family, we're still strong, and we're still together. They'll howl and sound real loud and make those big family connections together with vocal communication. What are some other things we thought of?
Or it's the opposite of that. You are not part of my family. This is not your area. Please leave or else.
100%. So setting those boundaries of this is my territory, this is my space. You're not welcome here. Let me be really loud. Coyotes, foxes, wolves, they will all do that to set a very vocal boundary of this is my space. Don't enter my space. And that could be toward humans and that can be toward other canines. So 100% setting those territorial boundaries, creating strength within their pack and family members. Yeah.
It's kind of connected with creating the bonds with family members, but just like playing sounds.
100%, especially with younger pups or yearlings. They'll definitely be like little kids and toddlers, kind of playing and yipping and figuring out how do I sound like what I am?
Right.
How do I sound like a wolf? How do I sound like the coyote I am? Or how do I sound like the fox I am? So kind of practicing their voices too.
Moms calling their babies back home?
100%. Either calling them back home or saying, where are you? Where is my kid?
Right, yeah.
So they'll definitely vocalize to locate different members of their family, whether that's their kids or kids to parents or partners to partners and vice versa.
They also might, like mourning.
Yeah, mourning.
Mourning.
Maybe saying like, hey, we have to get up, or hey, we gotta go
No,
bed.
mourning as in, losing their mate.
Losing their pup.
Something like
like
losing their
sadness.
kids, a mountain lion takes one of them out,
Yeah.
mourn.
100%, because they do have those strong familial bonds. They could definitely vocalize their emotions and their feelings to another. What were some other words? Did I see any other hands? What was it? To inform, maybe to say like, hey, there's a big herd of deer over here. Let's go this way, guys. 100%, yeah.
I would say something else like it's kind of like the family again, but they're like yip or call to the other pack, hey, do you see my kid somewhere? I just lost one of my pups,
Yeah.
Do you see my kid, or have you seen a trace of him or smelt a trace of him?
Yeah, I can't speak.
I don't know if they do that
enough.
specific, but they'll do
Right.
something to that effect. Like they'll call to the other pack, say, hey, look, I can't find my kid. Whereas,
Right. Or like definitely telling the other pack like, hey, you're in our spot. This is our hunting
oh yeah,
spot.
that too.
But I love that. Oh my gosh, you guys, you covered all the stuff I was really gonna kind of portray to y'all. This was perfect. Yeah.
Urinate to mark territory.
Yeah, definitely to mark more territory. Like this is a new spot. It's mine. This is my stuff.
Right.
So 100%, to kind of like summarize all that wonderfulness up, it's definitely to create family bonds, strengthen connections, set territories, claim territories, maybe even convey some emotion or different understandings. This is wonderful, you guys. So as we kind of wrap up this last activity, if you're comfortable, you guys can close your eyes and I'm going to play some audio. And for this first one, I want you guys to hear it and then guess. Do you think it's a coyote, a red fox, or a gray fox? Alrighty. 3, 2, 1.
Coyote.
Yeah, that's coyote.
Alright. Raise your hand if you think it's gray fox. Raise your hand if you think it's red fox. Raise your hand if you think it's coyote. That was 100% a coyote. Has anyone heard that howl before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Up close.
Now, does anyone have any
Camping.
crazy coyote stories while I'm pulling up the next sound?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah?
I
What
was
is it?
driving in the middle of Milwaukee, right by the VA cemetery, and there's this coyote crossing the street. And we drove right past it, and he's just sitting there on the sidewalk. Like he wasn't bad, he wasn't like hit or anything, but he was just
Right.
walking down the sidewalk. Like I'm I'm like, that was really weird. I'm like, you don't usually see a coyote in the city.
Right? Like,
Like,
how is he here?
why is he here? You know,
They're
he
everywhere.
should be up north somewhere, but.
Right. 100%.
I mean, there is a lot of bones and stuff in the cemetery. Not that he can find them or get them, but you know, and I'm sure they're probably way too old to even be excavated.
Right,
But
and they're if
Keeping the
people
city
are in
rents down.
coffins too, you can't get in the box.
nope.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
The craziest thing I ever saw with a coyote was I was driving down a highway, a 4-lane highway, and there's this coyote walking down the middle.
Yeah, because that's where all the birds get killed, the roadkill and stuff like that.
What's going on, you know?
Right. Like, why are you here again? Craziest places.
Duck
Alrighty.
roadkill, all the
We're gonna
roadkill.
play the next sound. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or you can keep them open, whatever you're most comfortable with. But here's the next sound. All right. Do we think that's coyote? Raise your hand if you think it's coyote. Raise your hand if you think that's red fox. Raise your hand if you think that's a gray fox. Okay. You guys are super close. This was a red fox call. They have more of a bark. So coyotes will definitely have that longer howl that we heard, more high pitched. Whereas red foxes will have more of a bark. It's a very fast, very immediate kind of
Like a really
deepening
fast bark. It's
Yeah.
faster than an average dog bark.
100%. But awesome. And then we're gonna do our last sound of a gray. Oh, wait. You don't know what it is yet.
The gray fox.
Only one left. Oh
There's
boy.
only one.
Thanks, guys. All right, you guys ready? Perfect. So that's kind of more of a cough.
Yeah, it's more of a cough.
Right? It's a super kind of gritty, kind of coughy bark. It's super quick and it's super low versus that higher pitch red fox sound. Now, if everyone, who thinks it's a red fox? Who thinks it's a gray fox? Perfect. This was 100% a gray fox. Thank you guys so much for entertaining me with that. Alrighty, we're gonna head back inside to the pavilion for our last activity, and we're gonna warm up for a little bit. But does anyone have any thoughts, questions, concerns before we move on?
No.
All right. Now, as we walk
Other than
back,
I do have to use the bathroom.
that's okay. There's a bathroom right on the inside.
Nice.
All right, let's
Oh, you
head
can
back.
transfer.
Alrighty. Come on in. We're all in. Once we are settled, warm up a little bit, get that blood moving. We're gonna do our last activity, and then we'll wrap up for today. And if you guys have any questions, thoughts, concerns, please feel free to come up. I'll be here after the program, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Alrighty. For our last activity, we're going to introduce a friend. This is Winston. Winston says hi to everybody. And we're going to do a little bit of a discussion before we make questions. And I thought it might be fun to have Winston here be kind of like a throwing ball. But maybe like more, instead of a throwing ball, maybe like a gentle pass. We can pass Winston from person to person to say what your thoughts are about the question. So, as we take a step back, we just had a lot of information thrown at us today. So, as we kind of rifle through all the information we got today, what are some of the needs we learned that coyotes, gray foxes, red foxes, and wolves have? What are some of these needs? Who wants to start first?
Food.
Food?
Whoops, sorry, I didn't catch that.
Alright, who else has a need?
What's the need?
Shelter.
Shelter, 100%.
Space.
Babies? Wait, what was it? Space? Space, 100%.